Good morning all the viewers. Welcome to the second lecture on NPTEL course on educational leadership. In the last class we have already discussed about the key issues and challenges that educational leader faces nowadays while transacting his duties and responsibilities in various organizations and in educational institutions. Today we will also continue some of these issues following issues in this lecture and ultimately move forward towards grooming, developing an authentic educational leader. So, today's topic is key challenges for educational leaders as we have already discussed, and grooming the capable and authentic educational leaders. So, key challenges for the educational leaders, some of the challenges we have already discussed. Now, some other challenges are like educational leaders have to be capable both as the individuals and as the professionals. As we have already discussed in the last class, they have to be accountable to so many stakeholders. They have to again they have to improve their own individual performance. They have to act as a very good professional. They have to have very good visions, missions and goals for the educational institutions. So, they have to be capable in both way, both in the professional way, and in the personal way, or as an individual professional. So, this is also another challenge for an educational leader, how to maintain a balance, how to maintain not only the work life balance, how to maintain a balance between professional responsibilities, duties, etc., and again individual career needs, aspirations and performance improvements. Second is that they must be able to effectively use their knowledge, skills and competencies. So, continuously they have to update their knowledge, skills and competencies. That means continuous learning, upgradation, updating their knowledge and skills are one of the requirement, and how to use these knowledge, skills and competencies confidently with good judgment and wisdom to solve the complex social problems, in changing circumstances and the context. So, education is very much an integral part of the society. So, as the society changes, hence we have to change our education system also, pattern also. So, the current leaders, the present leaders, they not only they are required to acquire the knowledge, skills and competencies as per the need of the hour, as per the requirement of the society, as per the requirement of the educational status, educational context, etc., but at the same time they have to confidently implement those, apply those knowledge and skills with good judgment. That they have to be very rational, they have to be judicious, they have to be impartial. So, good judgment and wisdom. They have to be very wise enough to think beyond the present situation, to think about the future, to think about the future goals, future situation, etc. So, with good judgment and wisdom, and to solve the problems and solve complex problems, because in this process they may face various kinds of critical issues, complex issues, crises, financial resource crunch, then complex interpersonal relationship, many complex issues will emerge, but they have to deal with all those issues with their existing knowledge, skills, competencies, with confidence, with good judgment and with wise decisions, So, as the changing situation demands, as the changing context demands. Hence, we cannot fix that these are the ideal policies, these are the ideal practices, these are the fixed practices, these are the principles, these are the things which we can generalize in a different context. No, it cannot be generalized. Because educational performance, educational outcome, educational administration, all kinds of things in the educational context are very much situational, very much contextual. Similarly, the issues are also contextual, issues are also situational. So, you cannot deal with every kind of situation with one principle, one solution, one methodology or one approach or one strategy. You have to be different. So for that reason, the key challenges for them are, competency based training approach often misses the key dimensions of the leadership. Now here another thing is as comes now, nowadays in most of our teacher education programs, teacher training programs, primarily the content, the curriculum pedagogy focuses on how to develop some required competencies, n number of competencies among the teachers, how to develop, how to inculcate and how to develop the competencies, different kinds of competency, transactional competency, evaluation competency, teaching competency, pedagogical competency, parents teacher relationship competency, different kinds of n number of competencies among the teachers. So for that reason, primarily our training programs are more oriented towards competency development, how to develop the competency, different kinds of competency among the teachers. And in that training program, in that process, in that framework, often we misses some of the major qualities of leaders, some of the major qualities of the leaders, because leaders they have to go beyond these competencies only. They have to be beyond, be beyond these transactions, these competencies, these curriculum transactions, this administration, these routine work, etc. They have to go above, much above to the level of competency. So once we emphasize more on the competency based training program, we often misses to develop or nurture some of the leadership qualities, like leaders should be very visionary person, an enthusiastic person, outgoing person, a highly ethical and moralistic and spiritual person, wise person, then team leader, and must be very good negotiator. All kinds of the leadership qualities actually we fail to nurture and groom among our teachers when we emphasize on the competency based training approach. So this is another challenge for us. Then leadership is too dynamic, situational, unpredictable, and to be mapped through the training. Again, leadership is such a concept which we cannot fix it within the framework. We cannot map it, that this is the boundary of the leadership. We cannot map it. It is it's you can say it's beyond the boundary. So it is situational, it is unpredictable, it is contextual, it is more dynamic kind of things. So we cannot map or we cannot confine the leadership within a framework. And for that reason, we need to give the exposure to our teachers, to our young teachers, to our how to implement its outcomes in our educational context. So leadership is too broad, it's too unpredictable, it's too dynamic to be limited within the framework of our teacher training programs, which is primarily competency based. Due to diversity and administrative workload in education sector, principals usually adopt the management of compliance. As we have already discussed, in Indian context, our education sector is much more diverse in terms of content, in terms of syllabus, in terms of curriculum, in terms of resources, in terms of teacher quality, in terms of students, in terms of socioeconomic background of the students, in terms of the type of institution. So there is a lot of diversity. So due to that diversity, the administrative workload for the teachers, for the leaders also it increases, it enhances like anything. So the administrative workloads increases enormously when the diversity is there, and in that context, with the limited resource, with the minimum time framework, with the minimum resources, with the minimum staff, with the senior superiors or authorities order, with so many activities, curricular and co-curricular activities within an academic calendar, etc. They are always under constant pressure, and usually they adopt a management style, management of compliance, that is somehow to manage, somehow to transact, somehow to finish, somehow to complete. So all the kinds of, so they adopt a management of compliance style, and they act as a site manager rather than the educational leader. So they are always their focus and intention is how to complete this task, how to complete that job, how to complete that responsibility, how to deliver that report, how to prepare that report, because inspection is coming up. So they are in a hurry to finish their task in a stipulated time, and they adopt a management of compliance style. That is, they act as a site manager rather than an educational leader. Again, another factor is that due to seniority list in most of the schools, colleges and universities, etc. So, there are this is a program or process of automatic promotions. Automatically on the basis of your seniority list, you become the principal, you become the headmaster, you become the registrar, you become the vice chancellor, you become the so and so director, all kinds of things. So, due to that seniority, many teachers automatically they become principals, automatically they become vice chancellor, automatically they become registrar, automatically they become headmasters, etc. So, automatically they become principals and the leaders, etc., without any proper training on the soft skill, or without any preparatory training on the principalship, or without any preparatory training on the educational leadership. Neither they are mentally prepared, or neither they have developed the mindset to act as educational leaders. Sometimes they do not have the aptitude also, they are not at all interested for the principalship, they are not interested for the headship, etc., all kinds of things. So, due to all these factors, they cannot become an effective educational leader, because for becoming an educational leader we also need proper training, proper orientation, proper preparation in terms of training, in terms of mental preparedness, in terms of aptitude, skills, then attitude, then personal interest. All these things are very much required, or a relevant component of this educational leadership program. And for that matter, we need a thorough kind of preparation program, educational leadership preparation program, training program in all aspects, all dimensions of the human behavior, all dimensions of the interpersonal relationship. Now, for that matter, in order to run our organizations, educational institutions more efficiently, more effectively, and to be at par with other other reputed educational institutions across the globe, and to be in the higher level in the educational ranking, world ranking, global ranking, etc. Hence, we need a handful of enormous capable educational leaders, a large volume of educational leaders, and educational leaders who are not just senior, who are not just experienced people, but they are capable educational leaders. Here we talk about the capable educational leaders. And so then who are the capable educational leaders? The capable educational leaders need to possess certain qualities. Okay. Now, here comes earlier we were talking about the competency based training, that there our focus is to develop certain competencies and number of competencies among our teachers. Now, here in case of the educational leaders, that is we need capable educational leaders. So, here there is the difference between the competency and the capability. Competency is that you are well equipped to transact the things, to carry on the things in the present day context, but capable educational leaders means you have to develop that abilities, those visions, those future strategic thinking, their capacities, their abilities, those self-efficacies, etc., to be the visionary leaders, to be the change agent, to be the social social, you can say, social catalyst, change catalyst, to be a transformational leader, etc. And they must possess certain qualities. So, what are those qualities? First thing is that ability to generate positive changes that improve the people and context. So, the capable educational leaders are expected to possess certain ability, possess the capacity to generate positive changes, to bring positive changes, to bring not only to transact the curricular activities, not only to deliver their teaching learning task, and not only to transact the curriculum things, etc., but to go beyond that, to generate the positive changes, to bring certain positive impact not only on the people but on the whole context, educational context. That is ability to generate positive changes that improve the people, not only improve the people but the whole context, the whole scenario, the whole educational scenario. That is to generate positive impact which can change the people's behavior as well as the educational scenario. Second is to act as an empowering and capacity building force for others and organizations. So, you will be the educational leader, will be a role model. The educational leader will be a role model to act as an empowering and capacity building force. Always he is there to help you, to empower you, to enrich you, to contribute beyond his duties and responsibilities, and to build up the capacity, So, capacity of his workforce, of his staff, of his students, of his organizations, of his institution. So, to act as an empowering agent, capacity building force for others, that means to groom others, to nurture others, to develop others, to develop their capacity, their ability, their potentials, and to enhance the status of the whole organization as such. Second is that to be, then next is that to be at the good at listening skill. So, you know how important the communication is even in the context of educational literacy, because whenever there are human interactions, whenever the peoples are involved, human resource is involved, the communication is the most important tool. So, communication, one of the important aspect of communication is also to be a very good listener. It is not just speaking, it is listening also. So, to be very good at the listening skill. So, they have to develop multiple skills, but out of which the good listener, they have to be very good listener. They have to be emotionally intelligent in not only understanding their own emotions, moods, how to regulate their own emotions, etc., but also understand others' emotions, how to regulate their emotions, how to understand them, how to reflect upon all the situation, and again to be non-judgmental. To know while taking the decision, while acting upon certain issues, while transacting certain things, delivering certain things, we should not be in a hurry, and we should not be very irrational, and we should not be very judgmental. We should not have any preconceived notion of that these people are this situation is like that. We should not have any preconceived notion of a particular context, situation, issue, etc. So, we have to be very non-judgmental, and again self-confident. Whatever decision you are taking, you have to take it in a democratic way, with a thorough analysis, with a thorough reflection, etc. But you have to carry on it with self-confidence, and capable of conflict management. You know, conflict is an inevitable issue. Wherever the people are there is bound to be conflict. The conflict is inevitable in every situation. So, again they have to be capable of managing the conflict. Not only managing the conflict, but resolving the conflict, but sometimes if it requires transforming the conflict into a positive outcome. So, they have to be a very good listener, emotionally intelligent, non-judgmental, self-confident, very reflective, and capable of conflict management. The next is that to have the inner wisdom for critical reflection and future vision. So, they have to be critical analyst or reflective thinker. They have to have the inner wisdom, intuition, reflection, and thinking of how to reflect on their own practices and how it has impacted upon others and how it has affected the people, etc. They have all the time, whatever they do, whatever they perform, whatever decision they take, they have to be the critical reflective practitioners. All the time they practice the reflective thinking, and they must have the future vision also. They must have the future vision, that what should be the future of our educational programs, curricula, institutions, our objectives, goals, etc. They must have all the time the future vision and mission of their educational institutions. The next is that they must have high ethical standards. They must possess the integrity, honesty, integrity, ethical standard and values, both in the personal life as well as in the professional life, because automatically it gets reflected. In whichever way you adopt your values and ethics and behavior and standards are automatically it reflected in your behavior, in day-to-day behavior, in your practices, in your communication, in your interpersonal relation, transaction, everywhere it gets reflected. Hence, they must have high ethical standard, values, and self-efficacy. That means they maintain all these things throughout their personal life as well as the professional life. It not just confined to, that means this situation, that situation in the classroom or in the office or etc., but they have to maintain the standards set of high values, ethical standard, code of conduct, and etc. In their day to day life, both in the personal territory and as well in the professional area, also in the professional context also. And again and self-efficacy to deal with the unfamiliar situation. So, when we are talking about the competency, it is contextual in the sense that competency, whatever you have developed, you are immediately using it, implementing it to deal with a present situation. But capability requires, you can say capability requires some self-efficacy, some abilities, some intuitive thoughts, some future visions, etc., through which you can deal with any kind of unfamiliar situation, unpredictable situation, that is required in case of the capable leaders. So, self-efficacy to deal with the unfamiliar situation. That means they are confident of their own efficiency, effectiveness, ability, etc. That is called the self-efficacy. The leaders are confident of their own efficiency, effectiveness, etc. abilities. So, with that self-efficacy, they can deal with any kind of unfamiliar situation, unpredictable situation, any kind of critical or emerging issues, etc., etc. Therefore, the educational leadership needs the capabilities beyond the competencies to denote a dynamic capacity to respond positively to changing situation. As the situation changes, as the situation emerges, as the critical things emerges, as the crisis emerges, as the new situation prevails, they can deal with any kind of unpredictable situation, any kind of unpredictable issues, critical issues, etc., with their dynamic capacity, That is why we need the capable educational leaders. So, here from capable leaders we come to the authentic educational leaders. There are different types of leaders. Now, here from how can we prepare the capable educational leaders, and in that context we need authentic educational leaders. So, what are the special features of authentic leaders? We need the leaders who are capable enough to deal with any kind of situation, any kind of unpredictability, any kind of critical issues. Now, here comes your next, how to groom authentic educational leaders, those who are genuine, those who are sincere, those who are honest, those who are deeply motivated, those who are self-motivated, those who are the self-learners, those who are having high visions and missions. So, here why do we need and how we can groom the educational leaders? The first question is that why do we need authentic educational leaders? So, the reasons are like this: authentic educational leaders help infuse educational practice with a higher purpose and meaning. So, in the educational context, we are learning, we are transacting, we are doing our job, we are engaged in different kinds of activities, we are engaged in research, action research, teamwork, sharing our knowledge, wisdom, experience, everything we are doing not for the purpose of achieving certain time limited or short term goals or some objective, etc., but we have to go beyond that. Always we have to remember that we are learning for the whole life. It is a continuous learning process, and so that is how our focus should be on learning throughout the life, learning continuously, learning all the time, and which can bring the qualitative changes in our life. So, authentic educational leaders help infuse educational practice with a higher purpose and meaning. So, whatever the authentic education leaders they do, they practice, they exercise, they implement, always they are having a higher purpose and meaning in life. Always they are having high visions, high values, objectives, etc. And they focus on ethics and morality in actions and interaction. Always their focus, their objective, their goals are on the ethics, high moral standards, values, code of conduct, high level of self actualization, high level of objectives. So, all kinds of high values, code of conducts, morality are there, always their focus, and they focus on these all kinds of actions and interaction, whatever they do, whatever they perform, whatever they say, whatever they transact, whatever they carry on, whatever they think, they plan, always there is some inherent ethics and morality and high value and visions are inherent in that.